If you're like me and you are someone who loved working out before you were pregnant, one of the first concerns you may have had when you found out that you were pregnant is, how can I work out safely? What can and can't I do? I know I was honestly searching for things that I wanted to hear. There were some people that I followed who said, hey, you should go for those PRs, you should go for those really heavy weights. It's perfectly fine. And then some of the doctors said, don't lift more than 20 pounds. And then I also had doctors who said, if you were doing it before, you can keep doing it now. And although there was part of me that wanted to run with that, and I know some people do, and they're perfectly healthy and fine, there's also part of me that said, we need to slow down. This isn't the season to chase it down a PR, to run a marathon, and to push my body to the limits. Now, almost 8 months pregnant, I have learned to just listen to my body, to be safe and a little bit more cautious during this season, and knowing that I'll be okay to get in a good workout and to maintain different types of strength and cardio. I think you really have to tune out the noise during this season, do what's best for you, do what you know you are comfortable with. And I hope that this video can give you a little bit more peace of mind, a little bit more confidence. This is not providing any type of medical advice, but just to walk you through the progression of how I've approached working out while pregnant and what has worked really well for me, both mentally and physically. I tried to approach training while pregnant as kind of its own training block, just as you would train for a marathon, a CrossFit event, a weightlifting competition, whatever. I am going to break that down for you today. So this video will stretch through a week worth of workouts, how I program and tackle training during pregnancy, the types of workouts that I do, and how I've modified and changed my workout approach throughout the different trimesters of pregnancy. I hope this is a reminder that you can stay active and enjoy your workouts too, even throughout pregnancy. This is Training for Birth, episode number 2. Just ran a mile, walked a mile, and I'm just so grateful to be able to move. So friendly reminder, give yourself some grace, just enjoy it and take the wins as they come. So one of the biggest things with working out while pregnant has been being okay with adapting every single day. Normally, I would get kind of frustrated by that. I like to come in with a plan. I like to have a workout session mapped out, knowing kind of what I'm targeting, knowing what I'm doing, what's the goal. While pregnant, it's just kind of a different ballgame. In a lot of ways, it's made me a lot more patient and kind of humble and a little less high-strung because I've been focusing on just getting something done to feel productive. And just knowing that regardless of whether I'm doing arms or legs or feeling good enough to do some cardio or like lower intensity sort of HIIT style, but not like crazy. Either way, it's doing my body a really good service. And probably one of the most frustrating parts about working out while pregnant, especially if you're someone who was very active to begin with and you really love to train for whether it was marathons or half marathons or CrossFit or Olympic weightlifting, there's just so little research in regards to what you should and shouldn't be doing. I've seen women on Instagram PRing their deadlift when they're 8 months pregnant, and then some other women saying like, I just stayed on the couch, and that's just how maybe their mom did it or their grandma used to think about it. But really, the biggest takeaway that I've learned is just to listen to your body and have discernment on that. Have the self-awareness to be smart. And the reality is there is such little research on the topic in general. I really do think it comes down to listening to your body, erring on the side of caution a little bit, but you can still get an amazing workout in, even 8 months pregnant, and feel pretty good while doing it. And if some days you come in with a plan and you just don't feel good, okay, just push it till tomorrow. Push it, you might feel amazing the next day. You just don't always know. In the beginning, one of my biggest insecurities was not being able to work out the way that I wanted to. And I think that's another really good thing about pregnancy is that you don't think about, is that it honestly makes you a little less self-centered and self-obsessed. Looking back, I mean, it's kind of eye-opening to see how much I idolized fitness without even realizing it. And don't get me wrong, I still love it. I can't wait to get back to it. I can't wait to heal and, come back stronger. And I am by no means thinking that okay, once you have a kid, like that's it. We kind of put ourselves in these bubbles of like, okay, now I'm in this season of life, which means that goodbye to all these things that I used to love. I just can't do that anymore. It's just not what most people do. And first of all, be okay with being different, but also just know that there's so much more possible in life for you. You don't need to put yourself in that bubble. So I'm too optimistic of a person for that. And I've also been very grateful to work out with people in their 60s, 70s, even 80 years old at a CrossFit gym. So I know it's possible. And I truly do think a lot of it is just a mindset of what you allow yourself to do and be in life. And when I first found out I was pregnant, I was definitely looking for all the YouTubers, the podcasters, the doctors, the literature, whatever I could find to reinstate my bias so that I could keep doing what I wanted to do. Every doctor I saw gave me a different piece of advice too. First doctor I saw said, don't lift more than 20 pounds, which for me, 20 pounds seemed very light. So it was hard for me to get past that. Whereas the next doctor I saw 2 weeks later said, keep doing whatever you were doing. To be fair, they don't sit down with you for like an hour and go through your whole workout history and see like what your threshold was, what your average heart rate is when you work out, all that stuff. Yeah, it would be really nice if someone looked at you and was able to tell you exactly the movements, exactly the threshold, exactly what type of heart rate you should be shooting for your workouts. Personally, I think you'll be able to know pretty clearly. If I try to go on a run and I just feel something's a little off, I just stop and I modify and I walk and then I go maybe do some more weightlifting. Weightlifting historically has felt really good for me, and I can just lighten the weights if anything feels a little off. When it comes to actually planning out my workouts for the week, the further along I got in pregnancy, the less strict I've been with sticking to an actual workout plan. And I debated buying a few different programs because there's so many now. Honestly, I just thought this would be, for my first one, just a good opportunity to kind of train myself and just listen to my body, take it day by day, just kind of see what I wanted to do. I approached this differently throughout each trimester or phase of pregnancy. So the first few months, I did not work out at all. It was a blessing if I could get a walk-in without feeling absolutely horrible. And during that time, I felt really nauseous too. So it was about a 2-month span where I just didn't feel great. I wasn't actually getting sick. I just always felt like I didn't want to eat. If I feel nauseous, I'm not going to work out. I'm not going to try to put additional stress on my body. That's my perspective. I know other women who feel perfectly comfortable working through that. And I just think, again, that's personal preference. It's what your body can tolerate. I did not feel the need to do that. But once I got out of that, month 3 to kind of 6, even 7, I could come in with a plan and be able to stick to it. And even now, 8 months pregnant, I'm 34-ish weeks right now. I could do that, but just because I'm in the office so much and I commute 2.5 hours a day sometimes, it's a little harder to stick to that schedule because I don't know how I'm gonna feel at the end of the day. Sometimes I'm just exhausted from work. If I worked from home, I might stick to a plan a little bit more strict. So again, I think this is really specialized to you, to your schedule, what you were doing before, what you like to do. And this is simply how I've approached it. So going back 3 to 6 month range, that was kind of the sweet spot. I felt really good. I felt like I could amp up workouts. I had some more high intensity sessions where I almost had to like pull myself back and be like, you feel pretty good, but you don't really need a PR or like get your heart rate this high. And my husband was really good about kind of pulling me back and being like, hey, let's make this longer and more endurance focused rather than high intensity. And then now, starting around that 7 month, you're just growing much faster. Definitely been a little bit more uncomfortable. Some days, again, a bit more hit or miss, but still able to work out pretty consistently. And I definitely feel the best when I get some form of movement in for sure. Sometimes it's just a walk. More than often, on days that I go into the office, it is just a walk. But other days, I can still push. Like today, I was able to run a mile and I felt so happy and excited about it, and I felt really good. And you just don't always know how you're gonna feel. So I take it a little bit more day by day at this point, leading up to actually giving birth. Here is how I would kind of come in and structure a week of workouts, even if I didn't know exactly what I was going to do that day, I had a general plan of the types of days I wanted to hit. So those days include one leg day, which was typically including some squats of some kind. Now, previously my back squat PR was 285. I felt really comfortable still getting under a barbell and just getting up to the low 100s and just moving really well. I actually felt really good and felt more opened up and flexible when I got under some squats and when I had a little bit of weight on there. So day one, there's always a leg day. Then on the days that I went into work, it was totally hit or miss. Sometimes I just focused on getting a walk in. Other days I was able to do a really quick morning workout, in and out 30 minutes around 5 a.m.
Happy Monday and good morning. We're gonna do a little workout before work today. Normally I work out after work, but if I have the energy to early, I like to get it done because I just sit so much at work. I'm gonna do like a really short little workout, strength training, some RDLs. I think I have some goblet squats I wrote down, and then some no walkout squats. So really just quick little leg day before the work week.
Right now I'm not doing that. I feel like sleep in this phase of pregnancy is a little more important than getting up early to chase a workout. So on the days that I would work out in the morning, I would try to do something kind of quick, something either more like an arm focused workout, because for me that was a little bit more mentally easy to ease into the day with. I felt really good. I didn't feel like overly tired from that. Or I would try to do something that was more on the mentally easy side of things, something that I could be like, okay, I can knock this out in 15 to 20 minutes and it goes by really fast. I think sometimes just making it mentally fun is most of the battle. But it was kind of that HIIT style. It was just varied movements for 3 or 4 rounds. So something like the C2 bike, maybe kettlebell swings, and then some push-ups, 3 rounds of that or so. Again, in and out pretty quickly. Yes, it got my heart rate up a little bit. It was kind of a mix of cardio, tiny bit of strength, that sort of thing. But I love that style of working out. So that worked really well for me in those mornings. As I progressed in pregnancy, I would just move that type of workout, same concept. I would just move it to the end of the day. So again, something that I could say, okay, I'm pretty tired, but I can do something for 15 minutes. And then somewhere in that week, I always schedule in at least one arm day. Sometimes that kind of more high intensity like CrossFit day turns into more of arms or legs, really just depends what I program out for that day. But arms is kind of the low hanging fruit for me. I feel really good when I do arms. I like aesthetically having strong looking arms. I think most people do. And honestly, it's the least intensive. If I really just want to do like a 15-minute workout and I'm not really feeling that great, I can typically get in 2 to 3 sets of an arm movement and maybe get in a walk as well. I almost save the arm workout for a day where I'm a little bit more tired. And then lastly, something that I've been doing definitely again during that 3 to 6 month timeline, and even now I'm still able to do it, I've just lowered the intensity, is some sort of kind of longer form workout or more cardio focused. I like cardio. This is something I enjoy. I like to run, so being able to keep up with running, even just in a very small capacity, makes me happy. And I know not everybody likes to do that. So this is totally personal preference, and I think a lot of this is. But a typical longer, kind of more cardio focused workout is what I try to hit on the weekends. I try to do 2 workouts on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, because I know during the week it's a hit or miss of with my work schedule how I'm gonna feel. So if I can get 2 out of my 4 to 5 workouts done on the weekend, I feel pretty set for the week to know that I just need to squeeze in like 2 15-minute workouts here or there, or an arm session, or just go on some extra walk. An example of a long form workout that I did just a few weekends ago was I would run 400 meters on the treadmill, and then I would bike about 1,000 meters, and I did 4 rounds of that. So in total, I ran about a mile, and then I biked about 4,000 meters. An alternative one would be maybe just biking for 30 to 40 minutes. Sometimes I just plug in to ChatGPT. I say, give me a 30 to 40 minute bike workout, including a warm up and cool down. And that's really how I program in for each week. I focus on the types of days that I want to get in. Sometimes I don't even program out the movements. I wait to kind of see how I feel and how much time I have that day. But again, I always try to get in some sort of leg squat day, an arm day or 2, some sort of cardio session, whether it's just on the bike or if I can push it a little bit more, great. Usually a quick CrossFit kind of varied movement style workout. And then honestly, I just throw in a lot of walks at this point. And that's kind of been the best staple to make me feel like, okay, if I can get a walk in, that's a win. Now, some movements that I have adapted and kind of ditched the further along I've gotten. Pull-ups, muscle-ups, all that stuff was like the first to go. I didn't really feel the need to do any gymnastic-y movements. Probably midway is when I stopped doing things like even rowing as my stomach got bigger. It just felt uncomfortable. It was kind of that crunching movement that they say to avoid anyways, so I don't row right now. I've subbed that for more running and C2 bike because that's what felt good to me. Pull-ups I've modified quite a bit. I can still do strict pull-ups, but I feel it in my core too much to feel comfortable doing them regularly. So I still do program them in very small quantities. I just use a band to really help assist with them. That's a really good modification. Same with push-ups. I felt really good doing push-ups. I can still do normal push-ups, but again, my belly is getting so much bigger now. So I do a lot more elevated push-ups and I just increase the reps, and that feels really good. It feels really safe. Running too, before getting pregnant, I was really amping up my running. I actually found out I was pregnant the day after a 10-mile race, and I was like, why did I feel so bad after training for that? Like, I should not have been that slow. And I had a side stitch the whole time. And then we went skiing that night too. So that was funny, finding out the next day, like, oh, maybe that's why. Scaled back running quite a bit. Now I do them more interval style, 400 meters, 200 meter repeats, stuff like that. And that just feels really comfortable to me. I'm so content with just like being able to still run in any capacity. Core is another thing. My doctor said I can still do core movements. I would say that it's just a little challenging with that vague advice because they don't give you the exact movements to do if they're not really like a fitness background. It's anything with like a crunch or where you cone, I don't do that, but you can do some good core stabilization things, band pulls, and even walking kettlebell dead bugs where you're just holding a kettlebell here and you're kind of doing a standing march. Those are some really good soft core movements that I've liked. If you feel off or uncomfortable or like this just doesn't feel right to me, you can just stop. You don't need to finish the workout. You don't need to feel like you're proving something to someone. Listen to your body and honor that, and you will probably be just fine overall. I have felt so much better than I thought I would. I will be honest, I was a little depressed at the thought of like, oh man, the next 9 months, this is the end of an era. Because honestly, most of the social media content about pregnant women is depressing. They're filming themselves crying on Instagram and TikTok. Motherhood does not just stop your ability to being fit. So people are telling you, oh, kiss that body goodbye or whatever. Don't listen to them. It's such unnecessary and toxic advice. People want you to be miserable with them. And that's an unfortunate truth. Just like any training block, this is just for a season. You're gonna have more times to train more intensely in your life. Know that it is temporary, regardless of how crappy you feel, and it is so worth it.